Dialectic Year 4. The Hunt for the Red October. Content. The topics in this movie I found were trust, hope, lies, cruelty, and survival. The themes: we must take a minute and think and not jump to quick conclusions. We must not assume people are doing the wrong thing just because we do not know them. The author's worldview. I think the author believes that people should not judge other people for where they come from or what they believe. Reality. He believes through Ramius the sea will grant each man new hope as sleep brings dreams of home. Settings. The physical setting in this movie starts in the sea and stays that way throughout the movie. The temporal setting. The Red October was made in November 1984. Cultural setting. Everyone is scared about the Red October destroying the United States because it can shoot a dozen warheads without anyone knowing it. At the end, the Red October becomes in somewhat U.S. custody. Then Moscow gets the punishment instead of the U.S. Symbolic setting. When the Russians sing their national anthem, this is a symbol of love and respect. Plot. Progression plot. The exposition. This begins when we meet Ramus and learn about his plan to defect. Intensing moment. This begins when all of the Navy find out there is a Russian submarine that can launch warheads with little or no warning. Rising action. This begins when Jack Ryan is trying to figure out what Ramius is trying to do. Turning point. This begins when Jack decides to hop aboard the Dallas to get in close contact with Ramius. Further complication. This starts when captain of the American submarine does not believe Ramius is trying to defect. It ends when the captain finally signals Ramius. Climax. This begins when the Americans are forced to board the Red October to help Ramius defect. Denouement. This begins when Ramius tells Jack why he is defecting. Suspense. No one knows or has a hint of what the doors are on the Red October, leaving an uncertain feeling of what they really are throughout the movie. Foreshadowing. When the Red October cannot disappear from the torpedoes, they find out someone's trying to blow them up throughout the movie. There is also foreshadowing when Ramis says he hopes that they can get the right sort of Americans willing to help him. This gives the audience a hint that Americans are eventually going to help him defect. Main character is Ramius. His traits are commanding, self-confident, strong-willed, smart, and fearsome. His thoughts and feelings. Anxiety. His thoughts lead him to wonder what he's going to do with whoever is trying to kill them and how he's going to get out of this mess. Archetypes. Captain, Peacemaker, and Murderer. Responses. When he finds out that there is a rebel on board, he stays somewhat calm and tries to figure out the solution. Position, circumstances, and conflict. Circumstances. Ramus cannot trust any of his crew when he finds out somebody tears the caterpillar, which helps them disappear in the sea. Throughout the movie, Ramus finds himself many places where torpedoes are being shot at him. Belief. Reality. He believes that the sea will grant each man new hope as sleep brings dreams of home. He also believes that the right kind of Americans will come and help him defect. Morality. Ramis is okay with killing one of the officers in order to continue his mission in defecting. He believes the Russians are wrong in wanting to destroy the United States. Values. He seems to value his wife, his crew, and helping him defect, and his dream of reaching the New World. Actions and experiments and living. His actions. Before he leaves, he sends Moscow a letter of his plan to defect. This shows how much courage he has in wanting to defect. He commits murder in order to continue his plan to defect. He tries to come in contact with the Americans in order to defect. His experiment living. He believes that some Russians want to end the United States in one moment with the Red October. His belief led him to taking the Red October and somewhat saving the United States from total destruction. Function. Ramius is the major character in this movie. This is because he sets the tone for the whole movie. Other significant characters: Jack Ryan, Admiral Greer, Seaman Jonesy, and the captain of the American sub Bart Mancuso. Character foils. Jack and Ramis both have to do something with submarines. At the beginning of the movie, it shows Jack Ryan looking through a bunch of submarine books. This shows his knowledge of submarine. Ramis shows his experience with submarines. Both of these show they love submarines. When Jack Ryan has a chance to control a submarine, he shows his little experience on studying how to control a sub. Ramis asks Jack Ryan what books he wrote. He mentions that he read one of them and does not agree with how the character in the book acts, and also does not agree with Ryan's naval tactics. The movie makers highlighting the way Jack and Ramis view a submarine and also the way they should fight in the water. Normative characters. The author showing his normative character is Ramis. He shows this when he begins to talk about what he wants to do when he gets to America. He talks about all the freedom he's going to have there. Characters in performance. Business and blocking. Raimi is shown as a captain of a submarine. The movie most of the time shows him thinking. When he's not thinking, he's getting himself out of tough situations. Physical appearance and behavior on stage. Ramis is old, he looks Russian, and he gives an almost captain-like attitude. He wants to defect so bad he murders one of the captains. He is very well knowledge of the sea and also of the submarine. Vocal and verbal expression. He has a very commanding voice. For a Russian in the movie, he has a Russian accent while using English, and he only speaks in Russian once. Artistry elements. Symmetry, parallelism. Ramis and Putin are both Russian captains in the Red October. They both are very important, showing that they both have the keys to open up the box for the paperwork mission. Contrast. The US is portrayed as a likable, free country. Russian at the beginning is shown as cruel. Putin wanted to carry out the orders they were directed to complete. While Ramis was wanting to defect, Putin does not believe in Ramis and his wife's belief in the Bible. Even though Ramis does not seem to show interest in the book in front of Putin, Putin believes the United States should be ended with the Red October, while Ramis thinks otherwise. Balance. The Russians want to destroy their own people, but the Americans want to save them. Repetition. Jack Ryan mimics Ramis about things reacting to bullets when trying to find the cook. Pattern. The director in this story goes from question to answer in this movie many times. Like, what is Ramis trying to do? And the answer, he's trying to defect. Question, how do we know he's trying to defect? Answer, we take what we know and try to put two and two together. Question, who is trying to destroy the Caterpillar to make sure they are seen and destroyed? Answer, the cook, and etc. Rhythm and reoccurrence. Multiple torpedoes keep coming at the Red October throughout the movie. All the torpedoes that came swarming at the Red October were Russian. Unity. Jack Ryan and other Americans help Ramis defect. The Americans on the Navy ship help the Russian crew board their ship, while Jeffrey Pell also is trying to fix the situation about the Red October with Andrei Lysenko. Variety and unity. Jack Ryan and Ramis are from different cultures. Both think differently about Ryan's naval combat tactics, but they both went fishing with their grandfathers when they were young. They both are fascinated with submarines, and they both been in the presence of a battle too. Unified progression. Jack Ryan goes on board to an American ship. That leads to him climbing on board the submarine called the Dallas. There, he gets in contact with Ramius, which leads him to climbing aboard the Red October. From this scene, he helps Ramius steer a submarine from torpedoes and kill a cook who tries to blow up the ship. All of this moves towards the end with Jack Ryan is able to help Ramius defect. Central focus. The Red October is the center of the attention in this movie. It is the thing that all is repeated throughout the movie and makes people worried. In the central focus example I have is they have orders to find the Red October and sink her. This is a first strike weapon, but also Ramius might be trying to defect. And also with other Russians, it was, we are going to kill an old friend. We are going to kill Ramius. Irony. The Americans help Ramius while the Russians try to kill him. Meaning through form. The director is almost showing that not all people who we do not know are out to do the wrong thing. Form follows function. The director helps the audience understand the feeling behind the Russian Navy and the Americans. The movie shows the crew's fears when they have their first torpedo shot at them. Also at the beginning, the letter shows the audience where they are in the movie, helping the audience feel like they are there. Evaluating the story. Content evaluation. Is the content true to human experiments? Yes, because in the movie, Russia and America had a conflict. Today, Russia and America are still suspicious of each other to this day. Is the content interesting and valuable? I would not say it is as valuable because it is sad America and Russia have this kind of conflict. This is also all because of judgment. Evaluation from a biblical perspective. Do not judge and you will not be judged. Do not condemn and you will not be condemned. Forgive and you will be forgiven. James 4:17. This verse is chosen because it shows that in the movie, Russia and America have their conflicts because they judge one another for what they do or do not do. Artistic evaluation. How did the various forms in the movie convey meaning? It showed that a Russian was out to save the United States because of his beliefs. How well did the author convey meaning through form? He did very well. He used Ramius personally as his meaning through form. How well did the author's form follow function? He does so well, he helped me understand the feelings behind the Russian Navy and Americans. Enjoying the story. Starter questions to get you thinking. I enjoyed this movie because it was full of action and adventure. I also enjoyed it because it gave many mysteries and insights of what Russians were really like. I appreciated the content in this movie because it was a kind of content that kept you on the edge of the couch. I appreciate the form in this movie because it gives a pattern of things that happen in the movie, making it easy to understand. I would recommend this movie because it is suspenseful. It gives, if interested, a good look of what Russians were like, and it will show you that we should stop and think this through. And that is my presentation for the Red October. Movie making, cinematography. The shot where it shows a ton of books and submarines, then Jack Ryan appears showing the audience that he knows a lot about submarines. The shot of the camera moving through all the books about submarines gives the audience the impression on how smart Jack Ryan is with submarines. Editing. At the end of the movie, when Ramius and Jack are in the Penobscot River, north of Seaport, it shows the peaceful night in America, the blue sky, the calm river, the gentle wind production. When Jack Ryan has to find a crew member who is trying to blow up the ship, he starts melting, giving the audience an uncertain feeling on what is going to happen next. When Jack Ryan is trying to find the crew member, he's in a place where it is almost all red. It's really hot and where the place does not react well to bullets. Because unfortunately, the member was shooting at Jack, and Jack Ryan had a gun to end it. When the Admiral comes to ask the politician to help him find the Rocktober, this shows how serious the problem is. It also makes this movie almost political. Soundtrack. The Russians sing a song on the ship called the Soviet National Anthem. This song makes the movie feel like it actually is a Russian movie. The song has a big impact on the movie. When Seaman Jones hears the Russians singing the song, this gives away that the Russians have a new dangerous sub.